Okay, so now we're at the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles is Jupiter in Capricorn. So that is the Wheel of Fortune in the Devil. It's like as soon as we get into reality, shit gets thick, it gets deep. Like, look at this energy. This is the Wheel of Fortune, which is the energy of expanding into relationships. All these different downloads that are kind of blowing your mind, all these things that you don't understand, moving forward from just considering the self and the clarity of the self into the mystery of the other, right? But we're putting that energy in the energy of the devil, which is attachments, compulsions, stagnation, relationships where one person is defined by the other person. So two people are looking to each other for clarity and answers instead of really looking to themselves. And then also just being chained to cycles that deceive you into thinking there's no way out of them, right? So yeah, when you put these two energies together, it's like all the different ways that you could get stuck seem to expand. They seem to come from, like in the regular devil energy, right, without the Wheel of Fortune present, that's being stuck to one person in one situation. But when you have the Wheel of Fortune in the devil energy, it's almost like everywhere you look, it's like sticky. It's like life becomes sticky. Every single situation that you could be in becomes a potential trap. Everything has the potential to get you stuck, to get you, forgetting who you are, for getting your personal rules and laws and looking to other people. It's like everything you do, you feel like you can't stop doing it. To me, that reminds me of, just all the trappings of the real world, right? Like you go to work, you have to work for your boss. You working for your boss means that you have enough money to pay your landlord. That's another contract. Now you're stuck in a lease. You have to pay for the apartment. Because you have to pay for the apartment, you also need to be able to get to work in a reliable fashion. So either you have to buy a bus card, right? Now you owe the transportation company, or you have to get a car. You get a car, you have to maintain the car. You have to have contracts with your mechanic. You have to make sure you have enough money for gas. You have to make sure you have enough money for the car payment. You have to make sure you have enough money for insurance. If you have other family members that may drive your car, now you have to put them on your insurance. So they have to be contractually covered. It's just like all these obligations where one connection to one thing leads to all these different connections and traps with other things. And you look up and it's like you're just stuck in this life of material things, right? When you think about the wands and the cups and the swords, those situations are not as sticky as with the pentacles, because those are just ideals, right? Those are spiritual spiritual inklings or emotions that you have to deal with, or thoughts or in words that you can either think or not think, or say or not say. But when you get to the pentacles, man, it's like shit is real. And because it's real, because it's really happening, reality has real consequences, right? The shit that you gotta deal with, lots of things you gotta deal with. So, and I just think it's crazy too, like as soon as you get to the pentacles, you are faced with devil energy, right? Because it could start with Virgo energy with the hermit and being reflective, or it could start with the Hierophant with like, these are the rules and the laws and the orders of my reality. But no, that would be too easy. It starts immediately with the devil energy, with confusion, with feeling stuck. And I don't know, I just think it's, I look at the tarot as a progressive journey through the minor arcana. So it's like you've dealt with all the wands, right? And you carried that heavy burden of like responsibility when you finally get to the 10 of wands. And then you deal with all the cups, and you have these emotional epiphanies when you get to the 10 of cups. And then you deal with all these, all the swords, and you learn how to say no, and you learn how to make choices that benefit you, right, with the swords. But then still, even with all that wisdom and knowledge and understanding that you've gained, it's like you get to reality, you get to the Pentacles, and all of that gets tested immediately. Immediately it gets tested, right? So whereas you thought you were on this stable foundation, now you find yourself off balance. You find yourself having to deal with these tumultuous, and look how the tarot is so literal, relationships, because look, we're looking at these ships in relation to the waves, his feet, himself, right? So this is literally talking about relationships, okay? Because these ships are relational to this scene. But also look how this ship is touching his knee. It's like relationships that you need, right? Needy relationships, things that require your attention, your time, your money. And then as soon as you deal with one need, there's another one coming in the distance. There's always stuff that you're going to need. There's always stuff that you're going to need to do, need to handle. And, it's going to throw you off balance. And so that's why this person has these 2 pentacles on a figure 8, because it's like as soon as you deal with one situation, another one is always coming, because the situations are connected. Like in the example that I gave with the job and the apartment and the car insurance, and it's like one responsibility leads to another responsibility. It's that thing of, what's that phrase? More money, more problems, right? And then this dude's hat is so long because he has to think about everything. There's so much to think about. There's so much to figure out. And it just never, it's like on this figure 8, it's like on this endless loop. It just never stops. As soon as one need is handled, it literally creates another situation where you have to figure out what to do. Need creates more need. Let's see if that's all I wanted to say about that. Let me think for a second. I think this card just also speaks to focus. How sometimes when no matter how idealistic you are, before a situation emerges, like say you're planning a situation and then you actually get into it, and you have this like think about starting a new school year, right? And over the summer, you think to yourself like, yo, when I start school, I'm gonna be so focused. I'm gonna have my pens and my notebooks. I'm gonna go to every class. I'm gonna always do my homework. I'm gonna turn in every assignment. And you have this ideal of how things will go. But then when you actually get into the situation, it's very, with reality, unexpected things always pop up. And it becomes difficult to focus the way that you thought that you were going to focus. Like if you notice, this dude is staring at this one pentacle in his hand, but he has a whole other pentacle that he's not even able to pay attention to, right? Because you can only put your focus on one thing at a time, no matter how many things are popping up. So it becomes a matter of like, you have to choose which things you're going to focus on, and you have to choose which things you're going to kind of let fall by the wayside. But either way, I just feel like this is about like having to deal with codependent relationships, and that's not necessarily with people, right? It could be with finances, it could be with situations. But either way, it's like it all depends on your continuing the dynamic. And then because you continue it, it keeps generating more things for you to deal with and to have to continue with, if that makes any sense. Okay. I feel like even as I talk about this, like I keep wanting to say more and more about it, but I feel like I'm saying the same thing. And so I feel like the 2 of Pentacles energy is also about how like you can never get to the bottom of a situation. There's just always, you know what I'm saying? There's just always more and more and more to deal with. And just no matter how prepared you think you are, when you enter the Pentacles, when you enter reality, life just throws shit at you that's gonna throw you off balance, period. It's like, it's just never that firm, perfect beginning that you hope for, right? It's like you always start off with one foot, you know what I mean? Just a little bit off balance, and you just kind of have to catch yourself and I don't know, just Just do it. I don't know. I don't know if I'm making any sense. I feel like there's something I'm trying to say, but it's like I can't quite say it. But I feel like that issue is the energy of this card. Y'all let me know. Let me know if you understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, so that is the Two of Pentacles.